Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's Stephen and Joe show. My name's Stephen. Joe isn't here today. He's very kindly stepped aside to let me promote my brand new series, Mr. Stephen Has an Opinion. Why have we started to prefix all of our language with the word cheeky? I'm going for a cheeky drink. I'm going to have a cheeky glass of wine. I heard somebody in the post office the other day saying that they were going to have a cheeky bag of peanuts. Going out every Wednesday, or as many Wednesdays as I can stomach, and I've got a lot of stomach for Wednesdays. Mr. Stephen Has an Opinion is my new vlog, which with opinion pieces and brand new thoughts and feelings and things. I hope some of you will find it funny. It's available on a playlist on Burnt Papyrus TV on YouTube. Please check it out. Please comment on it. I'd love to hear your opinions. It's always nice to watch a film with flair, and Star Trek Into Darkness has more flair than the 1970s dressed in flares and carrying a disco ball. And I'm not just talking lens flare either.
Let me explain what's happening here.
Returning to the crew of the Enterprise, we find Kirk and Spock as the captain and first officer of the youngest crew in Starfleet. After a previous misadventure on an uncharted planet, they visit Captain Pike, now Admiral Pike, who busts Kirk back down to his first in command and sends Spock off to work on a different ship. At the same time, Noel Clarke, Mickey from Doctor Who, but he looks an awful lot more like Lawrence Fishburne than he did back then, blows up a Starfleet installation in order to save his daughter's life. A council is convened to find out who is responsible for this, at the end of which Kirk finds himself back in charge of the Enterprise and on his way to hunt down the real attacker.
Ears burning?
Followers of Sherlock will know the villain well. Benedict Cumberbatch couldn't have done a better job of portraying the ex-Starfleet officer turned rogue. He's very menacing, he's very articulate, he's everything that a good villain should be.
I surrender to you because, despite your attempt to convince me otherwise, you seem to have a conscience, Mr. Kirk.
Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto do a fantastic job of reprising the roles that they formed in the first Star Trek, as do most of the crew, in fact. In fact, I only really noticed Simon Pegg's character, who I initially thought had a bit of a dodgy Scottish accent, but then looking back on it, that's exactly how the original Scotty would have said the lines. Looking at the cast, you do see various different mannerisms that each one gets that just kind of reminds you of the original characters. If you were a fan enough of Star Trek to have watched it as a child and don't remember too much about the original series, then I think you could quite honestly think, yes, these are the people who I grew up with. This is the crew and the cast, and this is just them younger. That's all it is. If there's one word that I'd use to sum up Star Trek, I suppose it's epic, because it takes place across so much of the Star Trek universe. We get to see London, we get to see the Starfleet headquarters, we get to see parts of the universe that we never thought we'd see again. It really is drama on a massive scale. There's a lot of talk that goes on. There's a lot of mention of things like the Prime Directive and should we be doing what we're actually doing. But it's all done in the middle of fights. The action doesn't stop. It's so fast paced. And you can sit there and you can just ride out this drama. And just have an enjoyable experience writing it out, or you can pay attention to it and pay attention to what they're saying, and you still get something from it as well. It's a film that works on many different levels. A lot of people have said that as a film it doesn't really fulfill Gene Roddenberry's idea of the series, and okay, that's probably true, but I don't think most people are going to care. I think if you liked the original Star Trek film, the chances are you're going to like this one. And unless you're a hardened Star Trek fan, I don't think any discrepancies between the two are really going to matter that much.
Jim! Hold on! I can't!
If Star Trek and space adventure and that kind of action film really isn't for you, then I would give Star Trek a very wide berth, because that's what it's about. And I think there's plenty of people out there who are going to absolutely just love this film. It's really, really fun. And yeah, there is a lot of lens flare. But if you saw that Space Oddity video that has been really big on YouTube over the past week or so, I noticed there was an awful lot of lens flare on that as well. So maybe actually this time it's something that J.J. Abrams has actually got spot on. I don't know. I love this film. I can't wait for the DVD release so that I can see it again and again. I probably will. I've no doubt I'll watch Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness back to back and have a great time doing it. I'd give this a firm 5 stars to the right and straight on till morning.
Sorry, that was inappropriate. It's just sometimes I want to rip the bangs off his head.
Set against the backdrop of a world which is getting colder and colder, much like England, is this little indie game from the Tomorrow Corporation, Little Inferno. I don't play many games, but Joe showed me this one on his iPad, and I thought I really got to try it and, give it a go. Basically what happens is that you have a fireplace, and you have to buy things in order to burn it in your fireplace. So you've got these little catalogues, and you go into the catalogues and you choose what you want, and that's delivered to you, and then you place it in your fireplace and burn it. Along with that, there are various different combinations that you can get by burning different items together. So a lot of the game is trying to find out what these combinations are from the cryptic titles that are given to you. You get a list in-game. This is all happening whilst you're being sent weather reports from a guy in a balloon somewhere over this frozen earth, and little gifts and messages from the girl who lives above you. All of this is set against the backdrop of a kind of 1950s style music and graphical background, and the sort of animations that you might think would be in something like Little Big Planet, for example. At first I thought this was a game I could just take or leave. But I find myself getting really pulled into the search for different combinations. Sometimes you just turn the game on just to indulge in a little bit of pyromania. But it's really engaging. It really is an engaging game. You kind of see this when you order items from the catalogue and you have to wait for them to be delivered. And sometimes you kind of get that feeling like you've just ordered something from eBay and you really can't wait for it to arrive, and it's only a minute, 2 minutes in between having bought something and it being delivered to you. But still you get this sense of, oh, I want it now, I want it to come now. You can actually in game pay a little bit extra for it, and in the terms of these little tokens that you get for completing combinations, and you can get it delivered to you quicker, which I thought was quite a nice little twist. Personally, one of the things that drew me to the game was this sense of a dystopian world that's all around you. And for such a simple game, the developers have done a really, really good job in actually bringing that in and making you kind of feel that feeling. There's a brilliant little advert for it, which plays after a certain point in the game. And it's got this really catchy tune. I was humming it for weeks after I'd first heard it. I think I watched this video clip sort of 2 or 3 times a day for a very long time, until I just got completely fed up with it. And I really liked the portability of it. I really like having it on an iPad. If you're off on a train journey, you can easily while away several hours just burning catalogue after catalogue of products, just trying to find these different combinations. One of the great things about doing that as well, of course, is that the further you advance through the game, the more little messages you get, the more feeling of dystopia that you get forced upon you. Although it is available on both the Wii U and the Mac and PC platforms as well, which... great, fantastic. You can actually buy it, I think, for about $10 for Mac and PC. It's available on the App Store if you've got an iPhone or iPad. It's better playing it on an iPad, I feel, because you get the screen, the area to kind of drag things around on. It's playable on an iPhone, but I think you get a better experience on iPad. It's also available if you have a Wii U console as a direct purchase from the console. So go ahead, get it. I would. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it enough to say, go and get it. You'll enjoy it. Overall, this is a bit of fun if you're after a game that you don't want to get too invested in. If you want a game that you do want to get invested in, the option is there, but you don't have to, and that's, I think, what's really great about the game. Choose it for a long playing session where you just want to burn stuff, or choose it for 5 minutes whilst you're in a doctor's waiting room. It doesn't really matter. Overall, I'd rate Little Inferno 5 Wicker Men. See you next time.